Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Grizzly Bear Sim's YouTube channel, and welcome back to Midtown USA, where we have some dirty big bud tractors now. If you're paying attention to our day count and everything, you may notice that we've moved forward a couple of days from where we were when we were last together. I have been tending to the animals and just basically keeping everything here on the farm running as smooth as possible. And of course, the boys have been helping out. And we've been making pretty good progress, I think, on getting everything done that we needed to get done, most especially getting all of our crops in that we wanted to plant this season. So, you know, we've had wheat and barley, which we've actually already harvested, along with canola, which we have already harvested. And so we have come around, and this is our more or less our second go round with getting fields planted, getting our soybean planted, because that's kind of what this whole series has kind of been about, is really taking advantage of the fact that we have been able to turn our wheat and barley fields around so quickly and get those all set up to go again with soybeans. So what we're just taking an opportunity to do right now really is just get some equipment cleaned up, moved around. We're going to get into some action here in just a few moments. I still need to do something with that manure there. I wonder if Farmer Klein would buy that from me, and if he would be interested in buying that for me. He's working the compost facility there on his version of Midtown USA. So not sure if he would do that or not. So we're just gonna put this in here. My guess is it will eventually prove itself to be somewhat in the way, as these things often always are. I don't know, just I guess best laid plans of mice and men and everything, but also best laid plans of mice and men. I failed you all a little miserably, I suppose, and I do apologize, because just before I was getting ready to leave on that trip down to Orlando, I got into some problems with a few things with the game, with my internet connection. Once again, having some internet connection issues here at home, and I only failed to get one episode recorded. I really meant to get this episode that you're watching right here and now. I really meant to, it was my every intention of getting this episode recorded for you all, so that you would have 3 episodes to watch. And so there's probably going to be 2 weeks in a row that you will only basically see 2 episodes from me, and I'm going to try to change that as best as I can. Going forward to 3 episodes, as I've talked about, but you know, I can only do what I can do, and I can't really do any more. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, because I know many of my longtime viewers here on the channel, you guys are, you know, busy as well, whether you're students or you're work professionals, or maybe even retired. Sometimes retirement basically gets us, or gets you. You're so busy, you often wondered how you had any time at all to do. So I just wanted to bring you all up here just to kind of show you that our soybeans are growing quite nicely. Now we have 3 fields of soybeans. We have the smaller field, field number 16. We have the larger field that's directly behind that, field number 17. And then we also have field number 15, which is over just across the way there. Those are planted in our beans, and they're growing quite nicely. Now we do have a hired worker out this morning that is fertilizing what field is he fertilizing? Field number 15 over there. You can see the courseplay icon there on field number 15, spraying some liquid fertilizer, because well, we do need to basically do that, and I've just run that stop sign, but all is okay. And there is field number 15 in all of its glory. And let's see if we can come up here and see our hired worker out there working. So yeah, he is spraying away, and looks like he's doing a quite nice job of that. So we have our major project that we need to accomplish today is we need to mow, and I think this is maybe our third time that we have actually mowed our 2 grass meadows down at the south end of the map. These were the grass fields that were more or less pre-planted for us by the map author, and so we basically need to mow those. Now, I was talking to my friend here that runs the store, and you know, it's good to have, as Garth Brooks I think might have sung, friends in low places. Well, I guess in this instance it's possibly a friend in a high place, because he has basically arranged for us to test drive this new Big M. Now, this is the Corona GTX model. I don't think that let me stop and regroup my thoughts here. I believe there is a model that is out on the Giants Mod Hub that has the grass swath fixed, where you can do the wide swath if you want to. This is not that particular model. I do not believe. I don't think I ever got around to downloading that. But for our purposes of what we want to do today, really for this video and really for this task that we're trying to accomplish, we don't want the wide swath anyway. We want the capabilities that this mower basically has in it to essentially gather the grass and leave it in nice windrows for us. So one thing I wanted to say, I realized that I pronounce, well, let me back up again. I realized that the company name for this particular mower can be pronounced, or is pronounced, a couple of different ways. You'll hear different people calling it different things, and a few times I have stuck with the pronunciation of Corona, as in the Corona beer, because that is how I have heard it on YouTube, directly from individuals representing the Corona or the Corone company. Now, you know, everybody may say things a little differently. You know, my father-in-law pronounces the company I work for a little differently than I pronounce the company that I work for. So there's things that may get lost in translation or whatever, but I figure if a company representative is calling it Corona, then maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just Corone. In any event, I can only go by kind of what I see, what I hear, and everything. I'm not, you know, I don't use one of these in real life. My tractor that I use at work is in the form of a desk, I suppose. But anyway, regardless of what the pronunciation is or is not, let's just call it a Big M, and let's just kind of move on with things and make the best out of all of this. So it's been a while since I've used the Big M, Corona or Corona, doesn't however you want to flavor that. It has been a while since I have used this tractor. Man, this thing used to be a staple on my Farm Sim 15 maps, because much like to kind of call out Farmer Klein, much like it was his game plan in the challenge that he participated in, that I started participating in, but sort of failed miserably. He more or less made all of his money, or most of his money, on the income of grass turned into silage. And of course, back in the Farm Sim 15 days, we had the reliable Corona big baler, which was much more faster, much more smoother to operate on our maps and everything. And that's what we used to really mow a lot of grass and everything, and bale that into silage and then sell it, or even just taking the grass and transporting it down to the BGA, and of course did the whole chaff thing and everything as well. But anyway, that is what that is. So I am in the real world. This is let's see, what is this? This is the 10th of March, in the real world. And for those of you that are in the know, that basically hang out over on my Discord channel or have watched some of my previous episodes, you know that I just got back late Thursday night from a trip down to Orlando for business, for work. And I've got another one coming up in a couple of weeks, but that is for discussion later down the road. But anyway, just got back, boy, and let me tell you, the weather was fantastic. I left on Sunday afternoon here in Denver, And it was not a bad day. It was not going to be a bad day, or I should say it was not a bad day, because I didn't leave until Sunday afternoon. So I did get to enjoy some of the morning and the early afternoon temperatures and everything. And it was nice. It was nice. The wife and I got the project. The project is done. You know something? I'm going to mow a little bit of this, but I think I'm going to turn this bad boy around and head back this direction. And sorry about that quick camera movement there. And I think I'm going to just cut what we can visibly see much easier here than going off into the brush there, because well, realism and everything is important to me. And you know, normally if we were to drive off through there, even with the weeds and everything as what they were, this thing would whack those things down. But I also suppose that for realistic purposes as well, perhaps we would not be going off and mowing those weeds and everything. But anyway, so the entry hall project that I've been calling it, my DIY project, that is done, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, I am so pleased that that is done, and it looks fantastic. I will probably try to get some pictures today and get those posted on Discord. So if you're interested in seeing what those what the whole project and everything looked like in its finished state and everything, check out Discord. And of course, you guys you know, are seeing this episode a week and a half or so after the point in time where I'm presently sitting. Well, that's just the way it is. But anyway, but we're glad that that's done. But yeah, the weather in Orlando was fantastic. I again left out on Sunday afternoon, and I got in kind of late on Sunday night, which is, you know, that's sort of the sacrifice. I didn't want to lose my entire Sunday and everything with my wife and all the stuff that we had kind of going on. And we worked on Saturday. We did the final finishing touches and everything of the tile project and everything. Got the baseboard trim all done, and got the, you know, nail holes puttied over, and got it painted and everything. And so my wife did a little bit of touch-up paint while I was gone. And let me tell you, when I got in on Thursday night, it was fantastic. It was great to see the floor, great to see her, by the way, as well. So anyway, got there late on Sunday. It was kind of cool, you know, and obviously a little humid, more so than what I'm used to here in dry Colorado. And so got there, and boy, I tell you what, Monday was nice. The weather on Monday was nice. I think it was in the high 60s, maybe very low 70s. But Tuesday was sort of the pick day, and I probably could not have planned a better entry and exit out of Orlando than possibly what I ended up getting out of that. Because obviously, for all of you folks that live in the east, maybe the northeast area, you all know that you had your nor'easter that came through, and I guess we got a little bit of the sort of the tail end of that whole thing while I was there in Orlando, with some real clouds and a little bit of rain, I think at night. But needless to say, it was a really great trip, and the project that I'm on, again, I can't say a whole lot about it, but it was successful and everything. So all that was good. So then I get back home on Thursday night, sort of late, and was back in the office on Friday morning, and even had some work that I needed to kind of get supervised and do on Friday night, because obviously in the IT world we do a lot of our work. In the evening hours on the weekends, because obviously we have to kind of do things when no one else is around, when folks aren't using the equipment or using the systems or the servers or whatever that we're trying to update and patch and everything. So that is just kind of the way that worked out. And I got home last night just about 1 o'clock, I guess, or so, and I am kind of tired because it has been a long week. When I travel, you know, especially going east, Monday morning was just Monday morning required probably many more cups of coffee than I normally consume, just simply because I was dog tired. And speaking of coffee, let me get a drink here just a moment. All right. So yeah, I was just really tired because obviously traveling east like that, 2 hours. 2 hour. I lose. I guess 2 hours is what I would consider. You lose 2 hours. Yeah. And so 8 o'clock becomes 10 o'clock. In other words. And so obviously got to bed, got to the hotel, got dinner, got into the room and everything, and of course my body. It was on mountain time, and of course my physical presence was in Eastern time, and so that 2 hours, it's only 2 hours, but you do miss it, and especially on Monday morning when the alarm went off. But I got up, got in the office, and of course it's a lot different because when I'm traveling, I don't kind of have a private office. I have usually they find an office that is somewhat suitable, that at least has a chair and a desk and everything in it, but I don't have the sort of the modern comforts. In my office here in Denver, I've got my laptop connects to 2 monitors, and I've got a nice comfy chair that I'm used to, that I have dialed into the way that I like to have a chair set up, and everything, and I have sort of the modern conveniences of knowing where the break rooms are, where all the where the coffee is, and kind of used to the kind of coffee, even though we joke and say that it's like paint stripper in the office. We're at least used to that flavor of paint stripper, if one can be used to a flavor of paint stripper, I suppose. But anyway, it's a little different when you travel, and of course it's nice. When I was younger, I was absolutely sort of in love with the whole concept of traveling, and going to different places and seeing different things, and experiencing different cultures, and different foods, and hotels, and all that kind of stuff. And I guess when I was younger, I was working in jobs, still kind of in the IT world, but maybe lesser responsibilities and everything, where my work would kind of finish up at a specific time, and I still, especially if you're traveling like in the summertime, if you can get out of the office by 5 or 6 o'clock, well, you still have maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of daylight or more, where you can go out and do and see things and stuff like that. Well, it's not always like that in the big boy world that I'm living in now, and so anyway, it just really was get up, go to the office, put in 9-10 hours. I think Wednesday was almost a 13-hour day. That's why I wasn't on Discord very much on Wednesday, and then basically just rinse and repeat. Get to the hotel and grab something to eat. Go up to the room, because I don't really, I guess now as I'm older, going out and trying to act foolish and everything is just not my cup of tea anymore. So I ended up watching a little bit of TV, but mainly kind of getting caught up on some videos, on some YouTube videos and stuff like that. So but thankfully, I had a nice comfy room, and it was nice and quiet. I didn't have this particular trip, I didn't have any noisy neighbors above me or beside me or anything like that, and so it was which is it's kind of rare for Orlando. Orlando is, if you are from the U.S., then kind of what one of the major draws is for the Orlando area, and obviously it's a mouse, very popular mouse, called Mickey Mouse and Disney and all that stuff. So there's usually in the summertime. I hate going to Orlando in the summertime because it's humid as all get out, and I'm just not used to that. It's even more humid, or at least it feels like it to me, than what it was growing up in Texas, for obvious reasons, because it's right there. We're pretty close to to the ocean and everything. But yeah, in the summertime, the tourists, the kids, running through the halls, and there have been times where I have, in the hotel that I typically stay at, and of course, you know, in the summer times, it's hard to find a hotel that may be a little quieter than some of the others or whatever. But the worst thing, the absolute worst thing, is getting in a hotel where you see a lot of buses parked out front, school buses or even just regular larger size charter buses, and you know that you've got dozens of screaming, potentially hormonal teenagers running about and everything. And so sometimes maybe the adult chaperones and certainly the hotel staff do, I guess, try to keep everything down a bit, but you know, you can never just control everything. And I can remember being that age and certainly being away from home and being in a place like, you know, a hotel in Orlando as an example, and just kind of losing my mind and running up and down the halls and screaming, and you know, you definitely want to, I always request a room as far away from the swimming pool as possible, especially if it's indoor. And so anyway, you just kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work. And I need to take another sip of coffee here, so bear with me. Now, I don't know if allergy season has already started here in Colorado or not, or if it's just maybe some residual effects of traveling, flying. I don't have a cold. I don't think I'm sick. I really tried to avoid that. I started taking some I forget what the name of that stuff is, that vitamin C effervescent stuff that you put in a tablet and some water. It's not Coldies, it's another one. Anyway, that kind of helps boost your immune system or whatever. And so I started taking that a couple of days before I left Denver. And so I don't think I'm sick. I don't think I'm coming down with a cold or anything like that. But I think maybe just the residual effects of flying and being in a little bit of a humid place and coming back to a dry place or whatever. Either that, or maybe spring is kind of starting up here a little early. But I am kind of feeling like I'm congested, like my voice may sound a little different than normal. And I was thinking about that this morning just before I had to do a take two, because I started talking as I normally start my introduction on my videos of, you know, welcome to Grizzly Bear Sims channel. This is Jerry. This is Midtown USA episode number whatever. And by the way, it's episode number 22 if I failed to mention that at the beginning. But anyway, I ended up having to re-record that. I got about 30 seconds in and my voice cracked about 6 times. I didn't want you thinking that I was turning back into a teenager with the way my voice was cracking, but it was just for the simple fact that I did sleep a little late this morning, and I had not really said anything. I had not used my voice yet very much, because, you know, I don't often walk around the house talking to myself, although there have been times that I often do carry on a conversation with myself, and even sometimes ask myself questions, and sometimes even get some pretty darn good answers too, by the way. Yeah, so anyway, that is just kind of what's going on. So I will apologize if you know, I do my best. I do my absolute best to basically minimize the sound effects and all of that kind of stuff of my allergy suffering that I suffer through allergy season. And so I will, you know, I try to edit out things if I cough, or if I sneeze, or if I sniffle too much. I try to edit those things out just so that they don't become annoying, because sometimes if that's just the case, then I get annoyed listening to myself if I'm sniffling a whole lot and everything. But sometimes it just can't be helped. And you know, we all, I won't say we all suffer from allergies, but you know, I know a lot of people do suffer from allergies, and I'm certainly one of them. And so Anyway, let's see if we can get this in here without tearing too much of the lot up here, because I certainly do not want to do that. So we will park that right there. I do appreciate the good guys here at the dealership for letting us borrow that, and they said basically don't worry about washing it. They are going to loan it out to another nearby farmer here this afternoon, and he's going to take it and go and cut some grass on his farm. So very much appreciative of that. So it's about 12:05. But well, we're not going to stop for lunch, because we've got about maybe 10 more minutes or so that we're going to keep this episode going for. So what we're going to go and do is we're going to go back to the main farm, and we're going to grab the tractor and the forage wagon and go, at the very least, grab up, oops, as I dukes a hazard there off the top of the hill, grab up at least one auger wagon, or one not auger wagon, but forage wagon load of grass, and bring that back. So we are going to be, we're basically collecting that grass for use in as silage in our fantastic silo silage system. So where is our forage wagon? Is right there. So we will disconnect from this guy here, and we'll take the New Holland up there, because, well, oops, it was disconnected already. We'll take the New Holland up there because, well, we need a little bit of extra oomph, I suppose, and, well, I just like this tractor. It's I like playing this map because it is somewhat of a I guess somewhat of a, you know, obviously it's a recreation of Westbridge Hills, in a sense, as I'm doing a pretty poor job backing up to the thing, but I got it there, managed to get that. So anyway, I guess, you know, it's a flashback to Westbridge Hills, and of course the big New Holland T8 was kind of one of, well, I won't say it was the largest tractor in Farm Sim 15, because that would be false, because we did have the T9 and we did have the big case. But it was still, it usually always ended up being one of my workhorse style tractors, either between this one and then the case Magnum was typically a workhorse tractor. But yeah, a lot of fond memories playing this map, as I've talked about before. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish up my coffee here, so I'm going to do an edit, and we'll be down at the farm here in just a moment. Alright, so we are here at our field. I think I might have said farm just a moment ago, but I think you guys understood what I meant to say versus what I actually said. So we'll turn on our forage wagon and go ahead and drop our pickup, and we'll get on the grass here. Of course, a little bit of this is in the weeds, just a smidge. I guess it's a shame that, you know, when we mow, it doesn't cut the grass in the you know, it doesn't cut the weeds, because in real life, obviously, you drive a mower off into the weeds like this, it's going to cut it. But again, you know, there might be this simple fact that, well, you know, we're trying to produce the best feed possible, and clearly you would not want probably a lot of weed material and everything into that. So I guess it's kind of a good idea that the weeds aren't cuttable, but I would also wager to guess that maybe, you know, maybe somebody at Seasons, some of the smart people over there at Seasons, could somehow or another figure out a way where the percentage of weeds that were cut into the grass and everything would actually cause the grass to be not as healthy, maybe not have as strong of a health component overall, or whatever. I don't know. I guess we'll all have to just kind of wait and see what we're in store for when it comes around to Farm Sim 19. But, you know, not much need for us to worry about this kind of stuff now. I really doubt that we're going to see a lot of enhancements to Seasons between now and the release of Farm Sim 19. Sure, I think if there were bugs or anything like that, we will most likely see fixes for that kind of stuff, but I don't think that we'll see major enhancements to it, just simply because, well, now that one of the main players of the Seasons mod is now working for Giants, I'm sure his focus is going to be on Farm Sim 19 and more or less how it relates to how Seasons is going to be integrated, or you know, however they're going to do that with 19, whether it's going to be an integration or whether it's going to be completely a separate kind of mod that is going to be released by maybe by Giants. I don't know, so don't want to say too much because I don't know. I mean, that's the simple point. I don't know what the answers are. But one other thing I wanted to update you on, and I know that we're coming up on about 29 minutes here, I believe, is that you know, the last episode, maybe not the last episode, but one of the last episodes that you guys watched of this map, of this series, I showed you the issues that I was having with regards to courseplay and the sort of the auger wagon setup emptying into the semi. Of course, that works just fine, but it was the semi route that was causing me some problems. Other folks have seen that exact issue on other maps, and let's see if I can remember where our, oh, it's right there. Other folks have seen that issue on other maps, and then also someone, I believe it was my friend David, basically attempted to duplicate the issue on his version of MidTown USA, and he's playing the actual released version, the version that's out there for everyone to enjoy and have fun, as I kind of snake my way back here to the grain dump. But he could not duplicate the issue, so it most likely is a fault with the map itself. Would be my guess, but I'm not necessarily. Understand that I'm not blaming ccs101. You know, he corrected a number of issues, one of which that we've seen is the way that grass and or straw piles up in certain areas of the fields and everything. And so it is absolutely my choice. I'm not being forced to stay on this version of the map by any stretch of the imagination. It is my choice to do that because I did not want to take a chance of it breaking our progress, and because for the most part everything works just fine. I am going to have to kind of rethink how I'm going to do my courseplay stuff, because I want to make sure that I can make as much progress as possible, and I need courseplay. I need the assistance of those hired AI to do what they need to do. But I think that for our remaining fields that we're going to end up doing, we will just figure out kind of another way to go about it, perhaps, and may just take tractors and tippers and empty the combine off the field and then transport those tippers when full back to the main farm, and just kind of do away with the auger wagon emptying into a semi sort of setup. We'll just see how it goes. I'm not going to make any decision one way or the other right now, just simply because there's no need to do that. We'll see whenever, or I should say we'll cross that bridge whenever we get to it, with regards to how we're going to essentially tackle that job. So let's see, about 32 minutes in. I think what I'll do is I'll do one more, I'll keep you with me for one more load, this load here. Once this gets filled up, then we'll go back to the main farm and I'll wrap things up and send you on your way, because I'm really running out of things to talk about, and I had a whole lot of high energy. I think probably the beginning of my discussions and everything, I was probably talking quite fast and high energy and everything. I still feel good, but I think that cup of coffee is starting to wear off just a bit, so I need to go and recharge that and get another cup. And I'm running on about 5.5 hours of sleep, which I did sleep late. I slept till almost 7, which is, considering I normally get up around between 4:30 and 5, that is sleeping rather late for me. But then again, I didn't get home until it was after midnight. It was probably closer to about 12:30, and 42,000 liters. So we've got another full load here. But anyway, so this is what I'm going to finish up doing off camera, is getting this grass collected at 42,000 liters at a time and getting it hauled over to the main farm, getting it stored away in the silage silo, so that we have plenty of silage to make it through the rest of the, well, this is late summer, so summer is over. When we come back together for episode number 23, we will do whatever we need to do in the first game day of fall, because I do like to record episodes on the first and last days of the seasons. I don't know if we'll have any harvest to do, but I tell you what, let me just kind of slow down here, and let's bring up our little tablet here, and we'll take a look and see what we might be able to do. So our fertilizing state, we do have one more field that we need to fertilize. This is our first soybean field that we've planted. We'll do that. Field number 12, we're not worried about that anymore, because I really do believe we have plenty of hay. And obviously this is going to take care of our silage needs. But if we flip over here, these two fields are harvested. I opted not to reseed these, but we do have sunflower seeds 5, 6, and I believe 7. Let me go back and we can find out together. Yeah, so 5, 6, and 7 are sunflowers, 8 is corn, and then of course our beans down here. So let's just kind of take a look at the growth progress. So they could be ready tomorrow, maybe, fingers crossed. So it's possible that we can actually start doing a little bit more harvesting, either on sunflowers or corn, the next game day. But we'll figure out whatever it is that we need to do, and we'll do it. And because that is obviously the nature of the beast, we're just continuing to move the chains down the field, for the football analogy and everything, and just continue doing a little bit of work, and you know, with the goals and everything that we have in mind. And the soybeans look excellent. I mean, they really look good and healthy. I think we're going to have plenty of soybean. That was kind of one of the reasons why I opted not to go ahead and plant field number 10 or whatever it is, the little field up ahead of us. I decided not to plant those in beans, because I think we're going to have plenty of beans. We're going to have enough beans to basically fulfill the orders which we already committed to. So that's the number one priority, because you know, if we say we're going to do something, then you know, barring no problems from Mother Nature and everything, we're certainly going to make sure that we make that happen. But at the same time, I think we're going to have plenty, and anything that we have left over, we already have a buyer that will buy it from us, and so we're not basically going to have to worry about not having a place to sell anything that we do have. Obviously, our wheat, we still have wheat, we still have barley, we still have canola in the silos. All of that is still there, and we'll figure out when we're going to sell it and how we're going to sell it and all that good stuff a little bit down the road. And so I think that looks pretty good right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and start wrapping things up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for watching my channel, watching my episodes, and I thank you again for that, and I look forward to bringing you more content here on Midtown USA, on Tazewell County, and any future maps and such that may come down the line for us to have the opportunity to play. Very appreciative of ccs101 for having the opportunity to play this map, or to begin playing this map early. I appreciate Eustace Pharmer for helping to bring all of that about. And I've really had a good time on this map. It's really been, you know, this map is so different from Westbridge Hills, yet it still has a lot of the little, you know, little things that made that map a really magical place. And I guess maybe the reason why Westbridge Hills, the default version, is sort of still magical to me, or the way it looks and everything, is because clearly that was, you know, that was kind of the first map that I had access to with FarmSim 15. So, you know, it's kind of, I spent a lot of time, as I've told you all, kind of at the beginning of this episode or this series and everything, I spent a whole lot of time with Westbridge Hills because I really didn't know about mods and everything back then, and I really loved it. But anyway, I'm going to cut this here and wish you all a very wonderful week ahead, day ahead, month ahead, whatever. I think by the time you're watching this episode, we're creeping into the latter portions, or we're starting that downhill slide into the rest of March. I think if yeah, I don't really know when this video is gonna drop. I don't have my spreadsheet open anymore, but I'm thinking that it's sometime after St. Patrick's Day. So hopefully you've had a nice St. Patrick's Day and everything. So anyway, that's it from me, folks, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for watching. I appreciate it. God bless you all. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.